Welcome to the Podcaster's Guide to a Visible Voice. Reveal and define your voice to speak your truth through the power of podcasting. And I'm your host, Mary Chan.
So let's go.
Hey there, welcome to episode 13, Permission to Be Yourself Behind the Mic. I want this episode to be like a mantra for you. Get ready to go behind the mic and record your next episode. Because being a podcaster can be really fun and exciting. The fun part is always the recording. You've got your gear set up and you're ready to hit that record button. But sometimes you get behind the mic and bam, you freeze. It could just be for a second, but then you start thinking, what do I say? You stumble over some words and you start thinking about what if they don't get what I'm trying to say? What if I sound weird and not like myself? I've seen it countless times before. The uncertainty that comes from speaking and the chain reaction of thoughts that circles your brain before something finally comes out the way you want it. And of course, in that moment, it seems like an eternity, that thinking, the pause, or stumbling. But in reality, those synapses in our brains are just a fraction of a second. So what do you say when you finally open your mouth? And how will you sound? Going back to when I worked in radio, there would be salespeople who convinced a small business owner that they should be the face and voice of their store. You should be voicing your own commercials, which I'm not always against, but sometimes these business owners would be sold this tactic, and they aren't comfortable with this new role that they have to embody. But then it's too late. They've shown up in my studio, there's a script in their hand, and they're nervous and they're unsure of themselves. I've even had someone say to me that they didn't know what they were doing in my studio at the radio station, but that their boss made them come and it was in their calendar. And then being totally surprised that they were going behind the mic, reading their first 30-second commercial for the first time. Wouldn't that be a surprise to you? Now, of course, that would be a surprise and shock to you, and it would change the sound of your voice. And of course, it was my job as the radio producer to ease their mind, get them comfortable, and really showcase their true selves, their real voice. And now those are extreme cases, and as a podcaster, you've chosen to get behind the mic. But sometimes what we hear back is not what we thought we'd sound like. Now, you might not be reading a 30-second commercial, but being behind the mic for podcasting is very much the same. You want to convey a certain emotion to connect with your listener, to make them take action, to make them care about what you have to say. How are you relating to your audience with your voice? Today, while I'm coaching podcasters and directing these voices, these same qualities need to shine through. I'll get on a call with a podcaster, asking them to get ready, get behind the mic, and then right away, I see this all the time. They'll sit up straight, or if they're standing, they'll stand up nice and tall, maybe put their hands on their lap or clasp them together and move into more of like a quote-unquote proper posture when they're behind the microphone. What is it in our brains that is making us think we need to stand or sit in a certain way when we're behind the mic? Is it to be polite, or is it because they know I'm watching them? Their subconscious mind kicks into high gear. Okay, I'm gonna act professional. Probably because being behind a microphone isn't a normal everyday thing that regular people do. But even though there's a microphone in the room, it can still mean that you can be yourself. You are free to be you and move the way you normally do, but being aware that your mouth should be close to the mic when you speak. That really is the only difference. As an example, if you talk with your hands, much like I do so behind the mic. Talk with your hands. Just be aware that you won't accidentally hit the mic or hit your mic stand, or if you've got a pop filter, don't hit anything. Just keep your hands wider apart. Because if you accidentally hit the mic or hit your mic stand, that hitting noise can travel to your mic and get recorded. And you don't want that sound. Or if you have your notes in your hands and you're a hand talker, then you don't want to wave them around so much so that you can hear the paper rustling in the background. Like this. So you're talking with your hands and then there's paper moving about. I like to keep my notes in the right hand, and then my right hand is still, but then my left hand is still doing all the crazy waving hand motions. Another thing I used to do, just for fun when I was a little kid, was to play with facial expressions. When I was getting ready for bed every night, I used to lock myself in the only bathroom that we had in the house. My family was not happy. And make the silliest faces while making up stories. This got me to use my voice creatively and realizing the connection between what you do with your face and your body to convey a certain tone or emotion in your voice. So if you make an angry face and say the words, "I love you," that doesn't sound believable, does it? Or if you make a really happy face and say, "I hate this," do you really trust that I am hating this right now? Your face is a vehicle to convey the emotion you want from your voice. Although my family didn't like me barricading myself in the bathroom and hogging the big mirror we had, maybe you'll have better luck and hopefully with more than one large mirror in the house to use than I did. So go practice that. Stand in front of a mirror and play around with your facial expressions while saying certain phrases. Make up a story like I did. So when you are behind the microphone, I am here to give you permission to be yourself. Whether that is to be goofy, silly, or be really animated in your body or facial expressions, you should be doing all of that when you are recording, if that's what you normally do. Just because there's a microphone in front of your face doesn't mean you should change who you are and how you act to get your message across. I'm here to give you permission to be yourself behind the mic. That's what this whole episode is about too. So the next time you're getting ready to record, say to yourself, "I have permission to be myself behind the mic." Be who you are and speak like you normally would when someone is with you, and that will translate from your microphone to your podcast and onto our speakers and earbuds for your voice to be heard, your true voice. Thank you so much for listening to the Podcaster's Guide to a Visible Voice. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you'd share it with a podcasting friend. And to reveal more voicing and podcasting tips, click on over to visiblevoicepodcast.com. Until next time.
Let's go.